Welcome to another episode of What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. What's Working is brought to you by Regions. This show, the Wednesday 6 p.m. show, seeks to find the trends that are shaping the industry, trends that are shaping different industries, your workforce, sales, whatever it may be. We're exploring the trends. And we get the people on the phone that we can talk to who have some insight into those trends and how they're reacting to them. Today is an exploration of a trend that I'm going to be honest, I know nothing about. I see it around me, but I know nothing about it. In the times of COVID, from what I understand, there has been a rush to purchase or rent some things that are designed for recreational purposes. We did have on the Tuesday-Thursday show the owner of one of the local bike shops. He's telling me he can't get his hands on bikes. They're back orders for bikes. People bring in their used bikes to sell, and as soon as those bikes are refurbished, they're sold again back out the door. Bicycling has developed a huge popularity during the times of COVID. There have been others like that as well, and one of them is the RV industry. We can't fly. Many of the hotels aren't taking guests. My family and I tried to book some rooms at the beach and they weren't taking guests. So people are turning to RVs. And honestly, I had never considered this. We see them all over the roads. We can't deny that. And even this weekend in my neighborhood, one of my neighbors had one parked in front of his home. I neglected to ask him if it was his or if he was borrowing it or renting it, whatever it may be. I don't know. But the RV industry has exploded from people looking for new and different ways to get out and explore the world around them. Today on What's Working with Cam Marston, we're going to meet Ed Bridgman. Ed is not a native of Mobile. He's moved here for the opportunity he sees in the RV industry around here and is developing a piece of property south of town that is going to be kind of instrumental, let's say, or just very, very new to the way RV communities work, not only around here, but nationwide. He's an engineer. He's got background in Six Sigma. We'll talk about that. It's a remarkable background in Six Sigma. And with an engineering mind, he's taking on RV rental, the RV industry, and RV parks with a completely new approach. So we're going to get us a pretty good story on what's going on around here. We're going to meet Ed Bridgman and talk about the RV world in times of COVID, as well as what trends that he's seeing in the RV world that he feels will stick around. Which reminds me, new to the What's Working franchise is the take it or leave it question. What does that mean? We want to hear from you. What experiences from the COVID economy are you going to take? What business processes did you have to change in order to make it through the COVID economy? And what of those processes are you going to take with you once things, quote unquote, return to normal? Take it. What are you going to take from the COVID economy? Leave it. What can't you wait to leave behind? What business processes have you had to begin in order to get through that you are so eager to be done with? Tell me what you're going to take and what you're going to leave behind. Take it or leave it. And how can you tell me this? I'm about to give you my contact information. First and easiest one, so you can elaborate a little bit, is email cam@whatsworkingcam.com. Again, cam@whatsworkingcam.com. Email me your story. Let me see what you're going through. Maybe we can read it out loud or put you on the air. The other way is through a voicemail or a text, and that number is the same. 251-260-8100. Again, 251-260-8100. Leave me a voicemail, send me a text. What are you going to take? What are you going to leave behind? And just before we get Ed on the phone, I want to talk to you or remind you about our social media push. Look for us on Facebook and look for us on Instagram. What's Working with Cam Marston? There are no spaces in those words, by the way. What's Working with Cam Marston? Or just search it up. I guess there's a way it'll find itself. Follow us. You can see who we've got working on upcoming shows or who we're working to get on upcoming shows, topics that we're discussing, as well as the guests we have during the live shows, which are aired Tuesdays and Thursdays at 1 p.m. locally here in Mobile. So when we come back from break, I'll have Ed Bridgman. He's going to take us through what he's doing in the world of RVs, taking a completely different look as an outsider where he has spotted opportunities in Mobile, Alabama is ground zero for what we believe and what he believes is going to be a new way to approach the RV industry. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. What's Working is brought to you by Regions. We'll be back after this break.
Think about how people really see you. The kid at the drive-thru just sees a coffee drinker.
Please pull forward.
Your local barista sees the person who loves a smiley face in their latte.
See you next time.
It's kind of the same way with insurance. Other insurance companies just see a customer, but a State Farm agent sees more. They see you as a neighbor. Your State Farm agent is here to get to know who you really are, so they can help life go right.
Call me, State Farm agent Allison Horner, in Mobile at 666-1616.
Even if we don't meet in person, Regions is still here for you. We make it easier for you to stay informed and in control with online and mobile banking. You can check balances, transfer money, pay bills, deposit checks with Regions Mobile Deposit, and even set up helpful alerts no matter where you are. We're here to make it easier to bank your way. Learn more at regions.com/tools. Regions Bank, member FDIC.
The best, most cost-efficient ways to talk to customers about who you are and what you do is through signs, simple, effective signs. Hi, I'm Cam Marston, host of What's Working. Signorama is the Mobile area's leader in helping you design and build signs advertising your business. What kinds? All kinds of signs, all kinds. Find Signorama on Facebook or at signorama-mobile.com. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. What's Working is brought to you by Regions. On the line with me is Ed Bridgman. Ed has come to town and is developing some remarkable new technologies that have not been seen in the RV world perhaps ever. And I was made aware of him by my colleagues at the radio station, and am eager to have his insights and his future, his forecast for the new RV world on What's Working with Cam Marston. Ed, thank you so much for your time. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, one of the things this show has never said before is Malcolm Baldrige Award winner. And before we get into the RV stuff, how about telling the audience what exactly that is and how you won that award? Because it's significant. Go ahead and tell them your background and how you won that award. You and your team won that award.
I was trained in electrical engineering from the Air Force. After honorably discharged, I went to work at Motorola. And I was a design engineer, electrical design engineer at Motorola. And at that time, back in 1989, there were no VCRs being built in the United States. Everybody had one or two VCRs, and nobody was building them in the United States. China was dumping microprocessors onto the market in America cheaper than we could buy the raw materials to make microprocessors at Motorola. President Ronald Reagan said, we need to do something about that. And just about that time, the Speaker of the House fell off his horse and died, and his name was Malcolm Baldrige. And so President Ronald Reagan said, we're going to have a Malcolm Baldrige Award to someone who can come up with a way to streamline processes so that America can compete against its foreign competitors.
Yeah.
So myself and four other people, we were the five original co-authors of Six Sigma, which is all about maximizing your profit margin while creating processes and procedures that reduce waste and provide a product or service that exceeds the customer's expectations. We were the very first ones in the country to win the Malcolm Baldrige Award presented by Ronald Reagan. And we thought we were going to go up there and get a plaque and maybe a check. And that'd be, we all have a bunch of hoopla and have fun. And in reality, it turned out that our mission then for the next 3 years was to travel around the country and teach Xerox and Exxon and Ford and GE and American companies, large and small both, how to use Six Sigma. So we did that for 3 years. And as an electrical engineer, getting up in front of people was not really my forte. But after 3 years of talking to people like Jack Welch and Lee Iacocca. I got pretty good at it, and I got to where I really enjoyed it. When I got back to Motorola, I was a director of research and development in Austin, Texas. I had 300 people working for me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, the cleanest clean room in the world. And I had a lot of responsibilities put upon me. But these companies kept calling me, and they kept saying, hey, we want you to come back. You've given us a taste of Six Sigma. We want to evolve it. We want to continue working. This was back when Ford was advertising safety first, job one, quality built in, stuff like that. Those were all a result of Six Sigma. And I said, man, I just can't do it. I've got 300 people working for me, and I've got a lot of responsibility, and I just can't get away. And they said, we'll pay you $3,000 a day. And I said, you know what? I've got vacation. So I said, yeah, we can make this work. So EOB Consulting was born, and I spent the next 30 years working with customers and trying to improve their profit margin by creating products and services that exceed the customer's expectation while reducing waste.
It's a unique mindset, I think, that sees the world from the Six Sigma point of view. 10 years ago, I was doing a lot of seminar work, just like you referred to, with GE. And they were my primary client for 2 or 3 years as I was giving my workshops to them across the country. And one of the designations within GE, maybe this is the case other places as well, but at the time, it was a Six Sigma black belt. And these people had to go through the processes to become a Six Sigma black belt, which apparently is some elite form of Six Sigma not trainee, but execution. They performed it at a high level. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. And I helped set up the black belt training at GE.
Yeah, it could have been that at some point you and I crossed paths. Of course, we had no idea who each other was. But I used to love to go to their campus up in Connecticut, their headquarter campus up in Connecticut, where they had these really fancy training rooms and that hotel built into the side of the mountain, which was so cool. Yeah, those were good days for me as well. They said, Cam, we'd love for you to come up here. And I said, gosh, it's such a long way. Well, we'd be willing to pay you. Oh, let's talk. Let's talk. I didn't know that. That was an interesting element there. Well, Six Sigma teaches people to see things differently, see processes and opportunities differently. Tell me how your mindset as an electrical engineer, as well as a Six Sigma originator, you're pretty cool, originator, has led to the world of RVs and RV parks.
Well, my consulting career took off more and more, and instead of being a side job, it became my primary source of income. In 2010, BP had an oil spill in the Gulf, and they were fined $24 billion that is supposed to be spent on tourism along the Gulf Coast. So I decided I need to look for something in the tourism industry along the Gulf Coast. I started looking for my property 9 years ago, and I found exactly what I was looking for at the intersection of Bay Road and Pioneer Road in the Fowl River area. The exact address is 10550 Pioneer Road. I found 20 acres on a quiet intersection of two quiet blacktop streets, but I'm just a mile from Greer's Market, a very nice place to get your groceries, a bank, filling station, convenience store, and now they have an Ace Hardware. They're just a mile from my property. So it's convenient to a lot of things, some really good restaurants, a boat launch, but it's really quiet on my intersection. And it's also, I have public water and public sewer, which is always a deterrent when you're trying to develop something, is how are you going to deal with public water if you don't have public water and public sewer. So I've purchased my property actually 7 years ago. I've been in the area now for quite a while. I lived right across the street from my property while I cleared it, and I've lived in the area or near the area ever since.
So I'm still curious, and you obviously had a plan and you've executed on the plan. But if somebody said to me, BP is about to spend billions of dollars on the tourism industry in this area, I wouldn't leap to mobile home park as the place I need to find a way to get involved. I would think condo building, buy a bunch of rental homes and rent them to the marketplace. I would think marinas. I would think whatever else lends itself, maybe a casino, whatever lends itself to the tourism industry. My mind doesn't go to the RV park. Tell me where this originated with you.
Well, actually, Cam, you have referred to this as an RV park. You've referred to it as a mobile home park. You've referred to it as an RV place about 4 different times now, and I'm not building any of those.
Oh.
An RV park has been around for 100 years. Airstream celebrated 100 years in business in 2019, and RV parks and campgrounds have been around for 100 years. RV parks are next to the interstate. We're all familiar with them because we drive the interstate. The average RV park is over 50 years old. They have very small sites, 20 foot wide by 50 foot long, because that's what all they needed to accommodate people when they were being built. The purpose of an RV park is so that people who are driving can pull over and have a place to rejuvenate, get some food, go to the bathroom, get some fuel, and they don't have hardly any amenities because the people are not there because they want to be at the park. They're on their way to a campground. The campground is located across the street from Disney World or a national park like the Grand Canyon. That's where they're actually headed. But halfway there, they pull over into a park. I'm not building a park. And I'm not building a campground because I'm not close to a national monument or something that would be an attraction. In 2017, the RV industry had enjoyed 8 years in a row of double-digit increase in sales. The RV industry is over 100 years old, as I mentioned, but it is enjoying a growth spurt that any brand new business would be envious of. So the RV sales are going through the roof. In 2017, there was 504.6 thousand new RVs sold, and the average price was $109,000. So then you take all of the pull behind, the little pop-up campers, it takes a lot of money to get the average price to go up to $109,000. So people are looking out their window and they're saying, I spent a lot of money on that thing. I want to use it more than 2 weeks out of the year. So they started this thing about 20 years ago called staycations. And 58% of all RV travel is within 50 miles of the person's home. And 68% is within 70 miles of the person's home. So they created resorts. A resort is an RV destination where people want to go because of the amenities that are located at that resort. I'm not building a resort either. I'm building a community, okay? A community is just like the community you have around your house. You want to be close to a grocery store. You want to be close to a bank. You want to be near where you can get fuel. You want to have some activities to do, but you want to be quiet. You want to have a safety. It is all a part of your community. That's what I'm building.
Ed, let's pick up. I want to hear more about the RV community that you're building. My apologies for saying it incorrectly up till now. The RV community that you're building when we come back from break. Folks, you're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. On the line with me, Ed Bridgman. He's creating an RV community here in South Alabama. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. What's Working is brought to you by Regions. We'll be back after this break.
I'm David Nelson, brewmaster and owner of Braided River Brewing. We want beer that goes along no matter where the adventure takes us and that doesn't make us choose between great beer and drinkability. We're drawn to the Delta and united by beer because to us, the best way to celebrate the Delta is to slow down and savor the moments and the beer together. Come visit our tap room in downtown Mobile and ask for us at your favorite bar or restaurant. Visit online at braidedriverbrewing.com.
I'm Matt Armbruster with Ransom Ministries. We help people in our community that most others have given up on. Please donate your unwanted electronics to Ransom Recycling. We teach life skills, job readiness, and job creation through our electronic recycling program. We take anything with a cord. Find us at ransomministries.com, or you can call us at 251-751-0044.
Human Resource Department hours on insurance billing mistakes, Obamacare rules, and compliance. Employee benefits serve the purpose of recruiting, retaining, and rewarding employees. We can handle all of your benefit needs with cost-effective products, employee enrollments, and handle your HR issues. It doesn't have to be complicated. My name is Michael Cowart Jr. of the Cowart Group, and we specialize in helping businesses with their employee benefit packages. Visit cowartassociates.com.
Ed Bridgman is here in town in Mobile and South Mobile County in the Fowl River area, developing an RV community as a result of what he saw as an opportunity. A man with deep Six Sigma background, in fact, the originator, one of the 5 originators of the Six Sigma concept, he's bringing this education into real form in South Alabama. He's not just talking about it, he's doing it. Ed, tell me how your RV community is any different than the other ones out there.
The average RV community is about 50 years old, and there hasn't been but a handful of new ones in Mobile County in the last 20 years. I realize that people need to be able to work where they live, and they need to be able to live where they choose to vacation. So in order to get people to be able to work there and download their homework for their children and download their movies for entertainment, you must have the fastest high-speed internet available. My Homestead RV Community is the name of my place. Homestead RV Community is wired throughout the entire community with fiber optic cable. I've paid a lot of money to make certain that I get the fastest internet available brought to my community, and then I put fiber optics throughout my community so that I will always have the fastest internet available. And on top of that, there is a trend right now. There's these large RVs going down the road that have 3 air conditioners on top, and they're pulling a electric golf cart, and they have an outdoor refrigerator that's trying to make ice in 100-degree weather. And they have 2 or 3 kids running around inside. These people can easily pull down 300 kilowatts of electricity in a 5-day stay. But then the next person who pulls into my community may only have a 26-foot bumper pull, and they're an older, mature couple who don't have children, and they only have 1 air conditioner on top and no outside refrigerator and no golf cart. So they should not be forced to pay the same amount for that week as the person who's using up all this electricity. So the trend right now is for RV community owners to be able to charge electricity separately. That's got to happen. But that's very difficult for communities that are established 10, 15, 20, 50 years ago to come back in and put in all new pedestals with electric meters on them. I have the advantage of being a brand new place, and we have designed our pedestals so that we have an electric meter built in. It was very important to me that not only do I have an individual electric meter at every pedestal, but it's also digitally read out by the customer. So if the customer doesn't have to take my word for it, they can read it themselves and see exactly how much electricity that was metered when they plugged in and how much was metered when they unplugged to get ready to leave. Or if they're staying for months at a time, they can read it each month when we send them the bill. I am developing the software that will go out and automatically read that electric meter wirelessly so that I don't have to go out and write it down if it's raining or something like that and possibly transpose a number. It's all done electronically. I'm designing the pedestal. I'm designing the software to be able to read it. And while I was at it, I went ahead and did it with the water also. Because if you have an RV that has a leaking toilet, you can go through 100 gallons of water in a few hours, which in reality, you should only go through about 100 gallons a day. Well, that person with that leaking toilet should be charged for the extra water that they use and not come out of some sort of pool that everybody uses, because that raises the price for everybody. So this way I can keep my prices lower while people pay for exactly what they use. In addition to that, I have paperless communication. There's no reason for anybody to ever go to my office. We have the Homestead RV Community app that people can download on their phone right now. When you make a reservation, when you sign the contract, when you sign a waiver, when you pay your bill, even if you want to go to the store, you can go to the store virtually, see everything that's at the store, buy yourself a bag of ice. It's all paid for with the credit card on file, and we bring you your bag of ice.
Wow.
While other people are putting up plexiglass between their guest and their person in the office, my guests don't even have to come to the office. You can stay at your site, continue drinking your beverage of choice, and we'll bring the ice to you.
What do you know about RVers, Ed? Who is at the helm of one of these things? What is their income? What is their age of their children? If they're not traveling much more than 70 miles from home in their RV, that means they're around here. They're in Mississippi. They're over in West Alabama or Eastern Alabama. What do you know about these people?
We have a complete demographic. The last was updated in 2019. But in 2019, and this is going to blow your mind, Cam, the majority of brand new RVs were purchased by millennials. You would think it would be the baby boomers. And granted, baby boomers are retiring and they are buying RVs and they're traveling around and seeing the grandkids. Absolutely. But millennials are choosing to live the RV lifestyle full time, and they're purchasing more RVs than any other sector. Every race is purchasing more RVs. We're seeing more and more of the minority races are increasing their sales. And so we have younger children than before, not grandchildren, but their own children. As I mentioned before, people need to be able to work where they live. They need to be able to live where they choose to vacation. So millennials, instead of purchasing a brick and mortar home and having 5 years of paying interest only on their payments and seeing their principal amount go down in increments of $1 a month,
yeah,
while they're paying these huge interest rates, they're putting their equity on wheels so that they can go to a destination like my Homestead RV Community, and they can enjoy downloading from the fastest high-speed internet, getting their work done relatively quickly. And then when they step outside, instead of mowing their yard, that's already done for them. They can step outside and begin having experiences and adventures with their children. Instead of yelling at their children to get off their cell phone, we take them to the park. We take them to the pond, and we get them fishing. We get them hiking and biking. People, the top 5 things they want to do on vacation is hike, bike, canoe, fish, and birdwatch.
All outdoors.
All outdoors. People want to have experienced adventures and make memories with their families.
Yeah.
Nobody ever sat around the table and said, "Oh, remember that time when we were all just on our cell phones and plugged into our own?" No, they say, "Remember that time we were going for a walk and we found a bald eagle?"
Yes.
Or we found a fox squirrel. These are at Homestead RV Community. You can find them there.
How long will they stay? What's the average tenure of one of your potential guests?
When I purchased the land, I was assuming that I would have the majority of my guests would be long-term, as defined by over a month. We have a lot of people coming down from the north that would probably stay for 6 months. There will be a lot of people who will actually live in Mobile and and Birmingham and places like that, not that far away, who will leave their RV full time with me hooked up, but I will only see them on the weekend. My smallest RV site is 40 foot wide and 82 foot long. So think about that for just a second. My smallest site is bigger than a lot of people's front yards.
Yeah.
Okay. When the average site is 20 foot by 50, my smallest site is 40 foot by 82, and my smallest piece of concrete is 20 foot by 70. That allows you to put the largest RV built on the slab with a big pickup, a big 350 dually, and still have room for your boat and still have room for outdoor activities on that concrete slab. So people are going to enjoy this long term. But then after I purchased my property, unbeknownst to me, when I purchased my property in 2013, the federal government used some of that BP money and they purchased the Salt Air Community, which will become the nation's newest national park when it opens.
National park. Wow.
Yeah. So that's 0.7 of a mile from me. So that's close enough that people can go there on their golf cart. So I will become a hybrid where I will be a destination campground as well as a destination community.
Unbelievable. And I get the impression, Ed, that when you found this location, you probably were looking at a lot of, would it be safe to say, Google Maps? You weren't driving roads looking for the location. I suspect you were looking over maps all over the Gulf Coast trying to find this confluence of so many of these factors.
Certainly, you start from the electronic perspective, but as I narrowed down my search, it was very, very, very difficult to find a piece of property that matched my list of 7 criteria. But I had found a piece of property not far from the property that I purchased. And when I went there by car to drive around the neighborhood and familiarize myself with the neighborhood, I accidentally found this piece of property. The for sale sign, it had been taken off the MLS. The for sale sign had been mowed over by the county ditch people. It was laying over in the corner, all cut up. I had to stop the truck and get out and walk over and copy the name down and make a phone call. And I go, well, yeah, it used to be for sale. It never did sell, so I guess it's still for sale. And I made an offer, and 1 hour later, I owned it.
Wow, great story. Let's hear more about what Ed's going to do on his RV park when we come back from this next break. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. What's Working is brought to you by Regions.
Life insurance is one of those subjects that make people want to change the subject rather than admit they probably don't have enough. I'm State Farm agent Allison Horner, and that's why I focus on how the benefits of life insurance actually live on by asking people to think in terms of life without having to sell the house insurance, or life without having to give up college insurance. Find out how the benefits of life insurance can live on for your family. Call me, State Farm agent Allison Horner, and get to a better state with State Farm.
That's the sound of rush hour. Hello, recess.
Mom!
Work from home is a lot of work. Even though we're a little further apart right now, we're still in this together. Regions is donating this ad to local food banks to shine a light on them as they feed our neighbors in need. Learn how you can help or get help at regions.com/foodbank. Regions Bank, member FDIC.
This is Cam Marston, host of What's Working. Jim Mitchell and his team at Signorama have provided all types of signage for nearly every event I've been a part of for years. I know his team's creativity, their multitude of products, and how easy they are to work with. His No Mistake Signorama is South Alabama's marketplace leader. Find Signorama on Facebook, call 634-0100, or visit next to Mullinex Ford on Airport Boulevard. We're back. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. On the line with me is Ed Bridgman. Hey, Ed, the boat sales are up, camping equipment sales are up, a lot of recreational items sales are up. Is the same happening in the RV world?
Absolutely. RV distributors are enjoying sales like never before. Their biggest problem is getting inventory in. The RV industry distributors around Mobile, several of them are accustomed to selling between 60 and 80 RVs a month. Yes, that's about 2.5 RVs a day.
Wow.
Right now in inventory, they're happy if they have 30 to 40 in inventory and not 100% certain when they're going to be able to get the next ones in. 85% of all RVs are built in Elkhart, Indiana. The factories were shut down for 2 months, and that had a huge impact on the RV industry. But people are unable to get on an international flight anymore and take their European vacations. Many people are hesitant to get onto a cruise ship and be trapped with 5,000 people on a small area. And for years, people have been hesitant about going into hotels because of bed bugs and other sanitary issues with hotels. The RV allows the family to travel together and take their food with them and take their clothing with them and take their bedding with them and take their beds with them so that they're familiar with all of what's around them and they can stay safe, but they can still get away and be someplace new. So Homestead RV Community provides these large pads, 20 by 70, as I mentioned before, large concrete pads and large sites. 40 by 82 is the smallest, as I mentioned before. It also provides wide 2-lane asphalt roads that the children can get out and ride their bikes. They can ride their scooters. These are 2-lane roads. So if they do happen to meet an RV coming in, they can still maintain safety. Mm-hmm. Homestead RV Community does not have a community pool. There's not some place that everybody gets in and commingles their body fluids. Okay. We have available upon request individual therapeutic jetted hot tubs. Now that's a mouthful. Okay, I get it. But this is not your grandfather's hot tub that you got in and bubbles came up through the holes in the floor or something like that. Okay, this is not something that was blown up. It looks like a kiddie pool on steroids. No, this is a real hot tub, therapeutic hot tub that could be prescribed by a doctor with real jets that come out and hit them sore spots. You can have that at your individual site, sanitized for your protection. We bring it out, we set it up, and you rent it for one night or you rent it for the entire time that you're there. You put a lock on it, you put a cap on it, and it has 4 different locks holding it down so that you control who gets inside your therapeutic jetted hot tub.
You've thought of everything. This is impressive. This is really impressive.
Actually, in September of 2019, I went before the county commissioners in Mobile after going through 11 months of permit negotiations with the county. And I said, man, you've got to help us. The RV industry is blowing up. This is the place to be. And you need to make it easier for us to work together, or otherwise the current American trend in housing is going to pass you by. You've got to make it easier for us to develop these places that people want to live, because other counties are going to take advantage of that, and we're going to be behind the 8 ball here in Mobile. Since then, they have taken some of my advice and they have eased up on some of the restrictions.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. And your complaint about the planning commission and getting stuff done is one that I've heard. I have not had to deal with it personally, but have heard for years. There's not a willingness to lean forward and explore trends. And I think that's a problem that this community has had for a long time. I'm glad to hear that you have had some success. Maybe that will crack the veneer to allow more success to come through.
Well, another area that I am known for throughout the nation is my consulting, EOB Consulting. And I am currently building 3 other RV destinations at the same time, 2 of them in Baldwin County and 1 of them in Prattville. So I deal with these regulations all around the world, currently in Alabama mostly. But people contact me and they say, I have this piece of land and I want to know how to maximize the value of my piece of property. Can you help me? And I come out and I do a feasibility analysis. I understand how their location determines which destination we're going to use, and then who are the people that they're going to attract, what they're going to need as in the form of amenities. So I determine how much it's going to cost. I put together a business plan for them that they can take to the bank or their investors so that they can develop their property. If they need help, I even do the actual development from a project management point of view. I'm doing that right now at 3 other locations in other counties. So, yes, I'm very familiar with how other counties deal with the permitting process.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Well, I appreciate it. So tell me, your website shows there's dirt being moved around still as of June, as of right now. What is your plan for opening?
Thank you. Yes, we will be taking reservations July 4th. We have moved almost all of the dirt that needs to be done today. They are putting in the gutters because we have the underground utilities in the ground now. They've crossed the road everywhere they need to cross. So today they are putting in the gutters around. We're going to be asphalt roads, 18-foot wide asphalt roads, 2 foot of gutter on both sides, very safe. This is a community. This is not your one-way asphalt road that's got so many cracks in it you can't ride a scooter on it, or crushed concrete for your roads. This is a real community that you can be proud to live in. And so then they're going to start bringing in the concrete for the buildings and for the sites. We should be taking reservations July 4th, and we hope to be open the first part of October.
Good. That's great. Folks, you can find more about the Homestead RV community at homervc.com. It's where I got a lot of the information to prepare for this chat with Ed. Again, that's homervc.com. And it's a community. It's not a park. I'm learning. Ed, you've given me some space to learn. Thank you. homervc.com, where you can, I guess, start making reservations on July 4th. What do these spaces cost, Ed? Can you tell me that?
We will start at $750 per month. That's $87 a night. I can't remember off the top of my head what it is for a week, but long-term be $750 a month is where we start.
homervc.com. Ed, I appreciate your time. I wish you the best of luck, and I appreciate your willingness to go through the effort to make this contribution to the community around here. I hope it pays some dividends for you and your guests.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Folks, we'll be back with final comments. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. What's Working is brought to you by Regions.
Do you sometimes wonder about different money topics, but struggle to find the answers? The Every Dollar Counts podcast with Gulf Coast experts Josh Knoll and Jay Stubbs is made for those folks serious about their financial plan and looking for answers. Josh and Jay dedicate their time to explaining the various services and products available, as well as discussing lifestyle and money interests of the modern-day family. Tune in to Every Dollar Counts on Apple Podcasts and everywhere else you get your favorite podcasts.
What's Working with Cam Marston is brought to you by Stella Artois Beer. Stella Artois is a perfect beer for celebration. Nothing caps off a big sale, hitting your incentive goals, or a profitable quarter like a round of Stella's. Brewed first in 1708 as a special Christmas brew, today Stella is a gift for everyone to enjoy year-round. Stella Artois. Find it wherever fine beer is sold.
Welcome back. I'm Cam Marston. You're listening to What's Working. I want to thank Ed Bridgman for his insights on the RV community out there and wish him the best of luck as this RV Community in the Fowl River area begins to take its final shape as it opens up to the public, now taking reservations in and around the 4th of July. I know Ed's got an extraordinary amount of time, effort, and energy invested into this, and a really extraordinary mind going about it. It's hard to find these people that have these Six Sigma qualifications, and Ed not only has them, he created the qualifications. He's perhaps one of the only Malcolm Baldrige Award winners that I've had interaction with. And if you're familiar with the prestige of that award, you know that it's pretty cool, which you'd also know that Ed is going about this methodically, carefully, and considering every step along the way to make his homestead RV community in the Fowl River area as successful as it possibly can be. He is, and one of the things that makes me so proud of this show, is another one of the assets of our community that lives and breathes amongst us, and we don't even know that he's out there. He doesn't draw a lot of attention to himself, but he breathes pretty rare air. Ed, good luck to you, my friend. Welcome and best wishes to this endeavor. I look forward to driving by one day and see it in its fruition. One of the things that Ed spoke about in our conversation was the people out there who will get in their RV and rather than spend too much money on a home, they spend it instead on a mobile home. And they may have a regular place to hang their hat. In fact, we're going to interview a guy in a couple of weeks who manufactures these things called barn dominiums. It's essentially a big shed with a home built into the side of it where they keep their toys. Their investments are more in their RVs and their boats, and their home is somewhat secondary. And this big barn dominium is a place that they keep their stuff and they live in the adjacent place. It's very nice where they live, but you'll see their priorities very clearly in the toys that they have, boats and RVs particularly. I can't wait to learn more about it. They drive to a destination. They park their RV. They hook it up, high-speed internet, all this stuff that Ed mentioned, and they live there and they work there for a while. I had initially thought RVs were places where people retire. They get these things and they go out. Well, here again, I'm learning. And there seems to be a big fascination in the younger generations of not having a permanent anchor that would be a home or an office that they have to report to. They instead find a job where they're able to do what they want to do while moving around the country and becoming involved in a community for months at a time, like one of these RV communities that Ed mentioned. It's a world unfamiliar to me. Frankly, it's a world that I'm not so sure I would do very well in. I like coming to my house and having things there each time and knowing my neighbors and planning on seeing my neighbors, which I suppose Ed would argue you can certainly do that in an RV community as well. But I don't know. I like it this way, and I understand that others like it differently. We are, as we record this, in the midst of the movement away from the office due to the pandemic. And this is something that we've talked about and referenced in other shows and talked about in detail in the Tuesday, Thursday, 1 p.m. live broadcasts on this station. We're moving away from the office. We've learned that productivity gains outside the office in a work from home, WFH, which is a new acronym, work from home environment, are just as great. And as I was talking with Ed and as I was thinking about this, I happened to notice, come across my inbox, is an article out of The Economist. And the article is entitled The Death of the Office. And I thought, well, this might be interesting in relation to Ed's clients, his customers, who work, who move around the country and work, but don't have a home, permanent home, a home the way I recognize them, or a permanent office the way I recognize it. Maybe there's some interesting stuff in here. And indeed, there are. Here's some pieces of data for you to think about as you consider the home and the office. Most managers spend at least 20 hours a week in meetings, according to a study by Bain and Company in 2014. Over the course of a lifetime, that amounts to nearly five full years in a meeting. This one of the people that they studied, Corinne Mayer, actually a different study, says she did everything she needed to do done in 2 hours at the beginning of every day. The rest of the day is in the midst of doing stuff, busyness, but doing stuff that's not critical to the success of her job. So it's a busy work in that office. It's 2 hours a day and she's hitting her goals, The rest of the, 6 hours a day, if it's a traditional 40-hour work week, is busy work, meetings, etc. And I found that just shocking. However, one of the things that the article goes through, and I think it's important to us to realize, is that the office place has value. Now, many of my friends who have said we're closing offices, we're putting our space back into the marketplace. We don't need to rent so much office space anymore. They've seen the productivity gains of working from home. But my expectation is at some point those gains will flatten out. They usually do. But most importantly, I think the big steps forward in terms of product innovation, of brand new, not only refinement of products, but brand new products, as well as service innovations and brand new service innovations occur when people collaborate in physical space together. And I wish I could find this, but you may remember this if you're an old timer like me. There were a series of commercials back in the day that I think advertised Reese's peanut butter cups. And it would be one person literally bumping into another. They'd collide in some way or another. One was carrying a jar of peanut butter and the other carrying a bar of chocolate. And they would argue between one another, did you get your peanut butter in my chocolate, or did you get my chocolate in your peanut butter? Something like that. But the outcome is they combine these two items for a new product, which I think is the Reese's peanut butter cup, if I remember this thing correctly. Well, it's that, and in the commercial, it was literally two people colliding, bumping into one another. But it is that intersection of two people with differing ideas that I think will keep the office relevant in our life. They won't go away, because I think the management and the leadership will realize that these collisions of ideas are what push products and services and ideas forward. I think, and if I had more time on my hands, I should research this, but it was the woman that took over Yahoo for a while, Melissa Mayer, am I thinking about that right? Who said we're no longer allowing the work from home because the creativity is lost in an entire work from home environment. You listeners out there who have control of your workplace undoubtedly are looking at, let's say, gains in productivity that I predict will be short-lived as we've all moved into a work-from-home environment due to the COVID environment. But at some point, somebody's going to say, man, we need some product innovation. We need some service innovation. We've not had that in a while. What do we need to do to get it back? And I think ultimately you'll realize that the office provided that value. And the quote that I love from the article, see if I can really find it here, is called The Chemistry of the Unexpected. That's what the office provides. I'm not trying to keep the office alive. I'm trying not to let the idea die. We'll wrap it up. Kristen Ogden, as I've mentioned before, helps me organize these interviews. She does a remarkable job for us, for the team. John Thompson is the show's producer. John is with Ion Digital. If you want to leave us a message, get involved, 251-260-8100, and find us on social media. We're there. We're all over there. If you're listening to What's Working, I'm Cam Marston. What's Working is brought to you by Regions. Have a good week, everyone. We'll have another show next week.